That being said, once you are in Blackboard, this class gets very straightforward. I have tried to make this class as straightforward as it is possible for this class to be. I don't want things to be overly complicated. I don't want y'all to have to run to 1,900 different places. I don't even want y'all to have to worry about having 2 Blackboard courses that will have information for you. We have 1 Blackboard shell. It's this OW07. If you open the lab section, which is X09, it's empty. It'll even just say like a little blurb that says, this is empty on purpose. Go click the other one, okay? All the information is in here. Syllabi, in here. Grades for lab, in here. Grades for lecture, also in here. Everything's all combined, okay? To make things as straightforward as we can get it. Now, when you log into Blackboard, you're gonna see something that will look like this. Let me turn on student preview so you don't see some of the stuff that's hidden. Not that there's anything too high, it just makes it look a little neater. It makes it look like more of what y'all see. All right, so you're gonna see something like this. So we have our Start Here module, and then we have the individual exam modules, and then finally the final exam, okay? So we have the class broken down this way so that you can find information for the first exam inside that first module, but you can find all the course-wide stuff up here and start here. So we are starting the class, so we might as well start here, okay? So there's a little welcome blurb in here kind of telling you a little bit about how the course is going to work. And then we have our syllabi here. So we have the lab syllabus here, or the lecture syllabus, and then we've got the lab one. So we're just going to walk through these real quick. My office is in room 105, so kind of right over there, kind of roughly even with these lab doors. I'm usually only going to be in there on Mondays and Wednesdays, kind of in these times. So from 9 till 11:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays. So that's basically before the classes start. And then we will have, or I will have virtual office hours from 11 to 1:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's basically just means if you send me an email, I will respond pretty much immediately. Okay. If you send me a remind message, I will respond immediately during those times. If you want to meet virtually, like so to meet via Zoom or something like that, we can do that. Okay. If you want to do that outside of these times, I will still do that. That does not mean that these are the only times for you to send me emails or the only time for you to send me remind messages. It's just anytime outside of these, you may have to wait a little bit for a response, but usually not very much at all. Emails, I can usually get to within a day. I even, like after I turn my phone off, like one of the last things I'll do before I go to bed is actually just go refresh my emails to make sure I didn't miss anything important and then hit the hay. However, I'm old, so that happens at like 9 o'clock. So, hey, don't look at me like that. I wake up at 5, okay? I have 2 small children. I'm lucky if I get to wake up at 5. But I'll still be checking them. I'll answer those usually as quickly as I can. If you send me messages via Blackboard, those are going to be the ones that are going to have the longest delay in response. I usually don't notice that I get a Blackboard message until I get an email about it, okay? So just make sure that you don't use that, like use Blackboard messaging if you need a response quickly, okay? I'll still answer it, like I'll still get to it. So if it's something that may require kind of a nuanced response from me or something like that, that's fine. I just understand that it may take me a day or sometimes to get to it. That's all. But if you do want to meet outside of these times, my schedule is pretty open. So just let me know and we can always meet via Zoom or on the phone or whatever that may be, whatever best fits what you need. Here's my email address here. It's basically just my first initial M and then Mosley@Kilgore. All right, the book, the fun stuff. Yes, you do need the book. However, the book is not a physical textbook. The book is an ebook, okay? It is basically access to the e-text and then all of the web resources that we're going to be using here. If you go to the bookstore right now to purchase the book for this class, they will sell you an access code, okay? It's gonna be like a little piece of cardstock with like a 20-digit number on it, okay? Or 20-digit code on it. It's alphanumeric, I guess. That's it. If you try and enter this ISBN on Amazon to buy it thinking that you're going to get it cheaper, 1, you won't, and 2, it will sell you the wrong thing. Okay, so do not do that. Instead, this is basically just the ISBN code that we give the bookstore so that they get access to those access cards. Whenever you click any of the links in Blackboard that say McGraw-Hill, they will take you to the publisher webpage. And then it will kind of walk you through making an account. Once you've made the account there, it will give you an option to either purchase the book from the publisher, which is going to be $5 or $10 cheaper, than it would be at the bookstore to enter an access code like you got from the bookstore, or to start a 14-day free trial so that you have a couple weeks to do all of your course stuff until you're figuring out what's going on and if you want to purchase it online or if you want to purchase it from the bookstore. Does that make sense? So there's not a required, you have to buy these 2 textbooks or this textbook kind of thing in this class. Everybody good? All right. So many remind messages that I can't answer right now because I'm in class. All right. After you've done that, you will not have to really directly access McGraw-Hill Connect for hardly anything other than the book. Everything else you'll be able to access through kind of links to it from Blackboard. So if you need to do a virtual lab for this class, you'll click a link in Blackboard and it will take you to the publisher page. So you got PowerPoints and all that kind of stuff in here too. All right, now grades. Grades in this class are fairly simple. Lab is worth 50% of the overall course grade. Lecture is worth 50% of the overall course grade. For lecture, we have 3 kinds of grades. We have the exams. So these are module exams. They're going to cover anywhere from 3 to 5 chapters. And then we've got quizzes. There's going to basically be 1 quiz per chapter. So if we have chapter 1, we'll have a quiz over chapter 1 for lecture. We'll also have a quiz over chapter 1 stuff for lab. Exams are going to be worth 55% of the lecture grade. Quizzes are going to be worth 22.5% of that. Okay. So that leaves us another 22.5%, which are going to come from our comprehensive final exam. Okay. So our final is comprehensive. It's going to contain information from all of the chapters. Like chapter 1 stuff is on there, just the same as chapter 16 stuff. However, because of that, it is worth 22.5% of your grade. And making things even better, it can be worth even more than that. We will use your final exam to replace your lowest non-zero lecture exam grade. So say you have an oopsie on one of these modules, like you just didn't study this stuff well or didn't realize that you hadn't studied it well, and you just blank on a bunch of stuff. No need to worry about it. Just do well on the final and it will be like it never happened. So these final exams can sometimes be worth upwards of like 30% of your grade. So they can go a long way. Also, to further be nice, I will drop the lowest non-zero quiz score for lecture. I'll also do the same thing for lab. So let's go ahead and look at the lab syllabus as well, because that has all the rest of the information we need. Cursor. All right, so for lab, it's a little different. We're still going to have those 4 exams, but we're also going to have a comprehensive lab final. The comprehensive lab final, though, isn't worth quite as much as the comprehensive lecture final. Instead, it just is going to count as another lab exam. And instead of it replacing your lowest lab exam, I'll just drop the lowest lab exam. Okay. It basically works out the same way. It doesn't heavily weight the lab exam that much. If you're wondering why I do it this way instead of the same way as in lecture, it's basically because I don't want to punish people for not remembering some tiny detail in chapter 2 and have that be the reason that they do poorly on the final or something like that. I still want you to know all that stuff, but I don't want it to butcher your grade like it possibly could if it was left the other way. We still have quizzes for every chapter. There's going to be 1 chapter where we won't have a quiz, and there'll be another chapter where we have 2, so it balances out. Okay. As far as the exams, the question types are going to be anything from multiple choice. They could be full blank, they could be matching, they could be short answer. That's to say like 1 or 2 word answers, but there will also be a couple of short essay questions, both in lecture and in lab. By short essays, I don't mean that we're to 3 or 4 paragraphs. I'm talking like a small paragraph, 3 sentences, 4 sentences at most kind of thing. Okay. Basically, I'll present you like it'll be just a small little prompt or a small little question. You're just going to answer it within a few sentences. It's nothing crazy. Like it's not going to take you 3 hours to try and write the type of thing that I want you to be writing. Okay. They will be fairly straightforward. Quizzes won't have essay questions, but they'll have everything else. You also have 2 tries at all of the quizzes, and I will take your highest grade. So you'll have 2 tries at the chapter 1 quiz and so on and so on and so on, and I will take your highest grade. You also get 2 tries at practice quizzes for every chapter, which will have basically the same questions on them. okay? Or at the very least, they'll be coming from the same pool of questions. So do your practice quizzes that you get 2 tries at before you take the regular quizzes, okay? Because if you don't know it on the practice quiz, nothing happens. If you don't know it on the actual quiz, it can mess with your grade a little bit. We're good? Then finally, we have some online labs, okay? So these virtual labs. These virtual labs are going to be very important because these are also part of our attendance and kind of participation. Okay, so these are going to be worth 10% of your lab grades. That's 5% of your overall course grade. However, they also all have to be completed. All, as in all caps. Every single virtual lab for this class has to be done. Otherwise, you cannot get a grade for this class. Okay, just because they basically means that you have absences in lab. And a lot of schools don't let you finish a class if you have absences in lab. Okay, so because of that, we have to have a very similar structure in here. So we need to make sure that we are doing all of the virtual labs. Okay, now doing the virtual labs is going to be fairly easy because they're just a link in Blackboard. Okay. If you have any questions about academic policies for kind of campus-wide stuff, that's all going to be found here in the academic policies link. And this is a live link. It should work. All right, attendance in this class. This is what we call a high flex course. This means that we are very flexible in how you attend this class. You can attend this class in person. Hello. You can attend this class via live Zoom. Hello. Or you can watch recordings. Also, hello, although you're probably not actually watching these, so okay. But those are the 3 different ways that we can attend this class. I do not care which way you attend this class on any given day. You do not have to tell me that you're going to attend class via Zoom on Wednesday or that you're going to watch recordings on Wednesday because your dog's grandmother got the flu, okay? I don't care. Attend this class in whatever way is most convenient for you on any given day. Now, would I like to see you all in here? Absolutely, because you'll have more fun in here probably. However, shit happens, okay? If you can't make it, that's perfectly fine. You can still do all the stuff. You also don't need to be worried about missing anything if you can't come to class on any given day, because I am going to record everything that happens in this class, including right now. When y'all leave this class, or actually by sometime tomorrow, I will have uploaded this into YouTube, and then I have uploaded a link into our chapter outline, and it is just there so that you know exactly what has happened in this class. If you were crazy and wanted to go back and rewatch some of this stuff, even though you're already here, fine, it's there, okay? But if you couldn't make it because of something, just know that I'm going to have those recordings up and available to you too. Everybody good? Make sense? Now, a lot of people will take what I just said to say, hey, I can do this class completely online, and that's completely fine. Others will say, okay, well, I will attend some classes online. I will do other days on, say, the stuff that looks interesting, and those are going to be the days that I come to class. So if you wanted to do that, this is our schedule for this semester. So today's the 13th. So today we're going to be talking about body regions, planes, and stuff like that. Next time when we come in, we're going to be talking about cells, okay? That means we're going to be looking at microscopes. So if you want to come to class next time, because you know we're looking at microscopes and microscopes are cool, short answer is yes, they are. They're awesome. By all means, you can use that as a guide to say, hey, I want to come to class this day because I know we're looking at using the microscope. Next, the following Wednesday, we're going to be using the microscope again. Following week after that, we're looking at the skin. So we'll probably have some microscope stuff that day, but we'll also have some kind of skin models and stuff like that. The next time we're going to be looking at bone tissue. So once again, looking at bone through microscopes, but we're also going to be looking at bones. That weekday, we're going to start looking at the axial skeleton. So we're going to be looking at the skull, as well as the vertebrae and stuff like that. I've also 3D printed one, maybe even more than one, magnetic skull that y'all can kind of play with and put together before that day as well. We'll see if it works though. One has, the other one's, we'll see if I have enough time. It's like 70 hours of print time to make one of those damn things. All right, then we've got appendicular skeleton. So that's going to be looking at some of the long bones, the bones of the arms and legs and stuff like that. We have 2 days there because guess what? There's a lot of bones and there's a lot of parts of those bones that we will need y'all to name. Then the next time it's articulation. That just means joints. Then we're looking at muscles. We have a couple days to look at muscles because we're going to be using not just the models, but we'll also be looking at some microscopic stuff on that front too. Nervous tissue, that day is quite fun. But then we have the brain. We're going to look at a brain in class. We will be dissecting a sheep brain, so cutting into pieces and all those kinds of fun things. So if that sounds like fun, that's another great day to be here. Then the following time, we're going to be looking at the autonomic nervous system, spinal cord, spinal nerves, and stuff like that. And then the following time, we're going to cut open a sheep eye or a cow eye. So we'll actually have an eye dissection on the day of the senses as well. So we've got a bunch of stuff going on. Okay. Now, they have shortened this class this semester down to like an hour and a half. It used to be 2.5 hours, which means I don't have as much time to go over stuff before we get a chance to do that stuff on those days. So what this means is whenever we come in and say, hey, we know we're going to be looking at the senses, you all will already need to have looked through the senses PowerPoint, looked at the anatomy as best as you can. That way you can practice that stuff when we are in here and study that stuff in here rather than getting that information for the first time in here. When we come in most days after today, my goal is to talk no more than 15 or 20 minutes total. That way we have the rest of the time to be doing stuff, whether it's looking at models or looking at microscopes and stuff like that. That way we don't have to spend a whole lot of time going over these things. To help with that, I've got old lab recordings that y'all can watch before you come in so that you've seen all the information before we come in. And then it's just like, hey, I'm going to give you a few minutes on how we're going to use the microscope, and then we're going to start using the microscope. Does that make sense? Just that way we can be a little bit more straightforward and a little bit more efficient with our time. That does mean that you need to do a little bit more stuff before we come in, but that also means that we have a little bit more chance to do more things in here. Everybody good? Where's my cursor? All right. Also, one of the reasons we have the class set up this way is because we also understand life happens. I understand that kids get sick, people get sick, cars break down, all kinds of fun stuff. That's part of why the class is set up the way it is. But also, this is why my late policy is what it is. Everybody gets a freebie when it comes to late work. If you submit an exam late, it's fine. Everybody will get one free late exam. I won't take off any points for it if it's a day late. Okay, just get it in when you can. Only if you submit a second exam late will I start to deduct points. If that happens, though, I will start taking off 10 points per day or 10 percentage points per day. Okay, so if it's, say, you've made an 86 on that exam, if it was graded at full percent, it's even 5 minutes after a day full late, I'll have to take off 10%, which means it's now a 76. That adds up quick. Okay, but once again, like I said, everybody gets a freebie here. Just because I know stuff happens, technology issues and stuff like that all occur. So just get your stuff done in on time if you can. Raise your hand if you're planning on going into some sort of allied health field or program. So rad tech, surge tech, physical therapy tech, or physical therapist assistant or nursing. Do you think they have a freebie? No. They would laugh at you if you asked. Most of the time, it's not just like, oh, 10% off, it's a 0. So probably not a good idea to get too used to pushing envelopes there if you're trying to kind of move forward. So don't turn everything in late just because that's a bad habit to get into if you are planning on moving forward and doing anything else, which most of you, as you saw. If you have any disabilities, let me know. So dyslexia or anything that means I need to give you any sort of additional accommodations in this class, whether it's extra time, notes or anything like that, although all that stuff's already provided. If there's anything I can do to make this class not easier for you, but at least fair for you to take, let me know as quickly as you can. If you need more time on exams, I need to know quickly so that I can get that plugged in so that you have extra time on your quizzes and all that kind of stuff too. Everybody good? So I just need an email from the disabilities office and we can get that taken care of. This is basically learning objectives and how we're going to assess them. That's basically it. All right, any questions on kind of syllabus stuff? No? All right. All right, I've already showed you the schedule. Oh, one thing I had meant to show you on the schedule. Is that one not updated either? God, I'm the worst. So the worst is I click the same link again. All right, so the dates, the due dates for these exams are already listed in here in the schedule. So the first exam is going to be due on the 27th. It's going to open up 48 hours before that. So if it's due at 11:59 p.m. on the 27th, it will open at 12:01 a.m. on the 26th. So that you have 2 full days to take it. Also, almost all of our exams, I think it is technically all of them, are going to be due on a Monday. I have it done this way so that you have at least one weekend day to do them. Okay. So this way you have a Sunday where they are open, where hopefully, even if you are busy, have kids, work, and all that kind of stuff, you should be able to hopefully find a couple hours on a Sunday to be able to get everything completed. Okay. The quizzes for those modules are due 1 day prior to the exams. So if the exam is due on the 26th, the quizzes are going to be due, or sorry, the 27th, the quizzes are going to be due on the 26th. This exam is due on the 10th, which means the quizzes are due on the 9th, and so on and so on and so on. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. If you do want to attend this class via Zoom, the link for doing so is right here. It takes you immediately into the room. If you also, like, if we ever need to have a virtual meeting or anything like that, for the class as a whole, or just a virtual meeting for you to just talk to me about something, we'll use this same link. Okay. If you haven't signed up for Remind yet, do so. The link to do so is right here. This is basically just going to take you to Remind. You'll make an account, and this will allow you to send me messages basically directly to my phone. It's basically like a text message. Okay. This way you will get a response very, very quickly. If you need a quick sort of answer to something, like, hey, I'm having technical issues with this thing, I just want to let you know, or like, what can I do to fix it? Send me a Remind message, and that's going to be the easiest way to get that process going and moving quickly. Okay. There is a character limit on responses. I think it's like 280 characters or something like that. So if you want to ask what I think the meaning of life is, this is not the format. Okay. But anything short of something like that, this will be more than sufficient. Okay. This is also the thing that I'm most likely to answer very, very quickly. If you send me an email, I will answer by the end of the day. If you send me a Remind message, I'll usually answer within an hour. Okay. It just depends on when I have a chance to get to my phone. All the people that have been messaging me since my previous class started, though, are probably like yelling at their computer screens right now, though, because they know that it's not true. Or at the very least, I haven't answered their messages yet because I've been too busy talking to y'all. All right. Now, the next things you're going to see are incredibly important. The first one of these is the Connect orientation video. When you click this, you're going to see a little tab pop up that says launch. Okay. When you click that, it is going to take you to the publisher webpage. Okay. Once you get to the publisher webpage, you're going to get 3 options. The 3 options that you're going to get are, or you're going to make an account if you don't already have one through them. And then it's going to give you an option to either enter an access code, purchase access from the publisher directly, or start a 14-day free trial. At the very least, everybody should start their 14-day free trial today. If you're not sure if you want to buy the access code here in person or buy it from the publisher, that's fine. You can let future you make that decision, but you need to get into the class. Okay. And the way we're going to do that is by clicking that video and at least starting your trial. Once you've done that, you will get access to McGraw-Hill and all of their resources. So the McGraw-Hill page is going to look something like, by something like, I mean, it will look like this. So once we've logged in McGraw-Hill, we're going to see this. Over here, we have a couple of options to buy paper versions of the book, whether we want to rent a hardcover copy or we want to buy a loose leaf copy. I think the loose leaf is like $30 or something like that, which is way cheaper than what it would be if you bought it from Amazon or something like that. Or you can just access it as an ebook. To access it as an ebook, let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah. You'll click this link right here. Basically, it has our book cover here. You click that, and it takes you directly into the text. Okay, so this is our textbook here. One great thing with the ebook is that we can riffle through the pages fairly quickly. We have a table of contents over here, and it will allow us to go exactly where we want to go. So say I want to go read chapter 16, senses. Okay, cool. Let me look at general senses. And then I can go exactly where I need to go. Also, this thing is searchable. I use this feature a lot. You should too. This is a really handy feature to have in a textbook. This is basically your control F function inside the textbook. Okay. This makes your life easy. Say you want to find some sort of topic, erythrocyte. Type it in, and it's going to bring up every single time that word pops up. Like, oh, hey, chapter 18.3 is about erythrocytes, but it pops up in the structure of the nucleus, basically telling you that, guess what, erythrocytes don't have a nucleus because they're weird. But it tells you every other time that it pops up in here, components of blood plasma, formed elements, like, hey, let's go look at that. And then I can go directly where I want to go. So this makes it really easy to navigate to particular topics in the book, okay? So it makes it really easy to navigate stuff, to find particular things that you're looking for. Highly recommend using that function. It tells you how long they live. This particular table does with erythrocytes, 120 days, 4 months. It's not bad. Especially when you look at the next one down, 12 hours on some of these. That's not very long, okay? So that's just kind of a fun little feature with the book, but it's also quite easy to just read as a textbook. So say I wanted to go read chapter 1. Let me click the chapter. I'm like, okay, which one do I want to look at? All right, introduction, let's go. And then it'll take you where you want to go. Also, these links are all live. So you can actually like, oh, I just want to look at that figure, and we'll go. Okay. And then you can just kind of click through pages this way. So very easy to navigate through here. It's also a very good book. I've actually read lots of anatomy books. That's actually not a joke. I've had to read several of them. This one is the best one that I've seen writing-wise. It's good information in here, written in a way that you can get a lot of information out of it fairly quickly. It is dense, but it's a textbook, so it's bound to be. That's just kind of how it is. But like I said, it's going to be found right there. There's also a practice atlas link over here. This one's pretty awesome because you can use it to find stuff. If you've ever taken anatomy and physiology at another class or another school, and they had a lab manual or something like that, this is going to give you a lot of those kind of lab manual style functions. Like, okay, here's a model, here's an actual skull, and I want to look at, say, the squamous suture. That's going to show it to me. That's kind of fun. That makes this a really good resource for studying this stuff. Okay. Here's a fun one, the Tyrian. It's like the 4 corners of your skull. You're wondering if I lost my train of thought. You are correct. I was just run over. All right. We also have a link to their Sharpen app. This is basically their flashcard study app. Very, very helpful. You can also, if you have a, like, once you've gotten to this link right here, you can actually download the book for offline viewing. They have another app that you can use to download that book to your phone, like I said, to where you can view it offline, which makes things nice and handy as well. The virtual labs, all the required virtual labs are in a folder here, conveniently titled Required Virtual Labs. So they're all going to be lined up in here. But there's also lots of optional additional stuff in here if you wanted additional study materials, whether it's additional practice quizzes or pre-lab quizzes, more virtual labs over different material or anything like that. All of that stuff is in here. Smart books are great because these basically can kind of highlight portions of the chapters that you probably need to study a little bit more. They're basically going to give you a short quiz ahead of time. You'll answer those, and if you struggle on something, or if it notices that you struggle on something, it's going to say, hey, this is what you need to be focusing your time on. So the smart books can be great. These A&P revealed assignments are also quite fun. These are going to work very similar to that thing I just showed you a moment ago. But anytime we have structures that I need you all to know, so I've put the structures in the structure list for each chapter. There will also be an anatomy and physiology revealed assignment where it will highlight all of those structures, whether it's looking at particular regions or particular structures. So here's the femoral region, so it kind of highlights where the femoral region is, or the facial region, epigastric, and kind of just showing you exactly where all this stuff is. And one fun thing is you can actually kind of mess with visibilities here and kind of change different layers and stuff like that, kind of adding things or taking things away, or we can kind of pin everything, and so you can hover and figure out exactly what those things are that way. So there's lots of cool ways to use this, once again, as a different study tool. Okay. And like I said, I've already gone through here and edited the lists within these assignments to where they shouldn't be asking you anything that I'm not, or so that it isn't fair game. So you don't have to worry about being too overwhelmed by extra stuff. Only problem with the APR assignments is they don't open as separate tabs, which annoys the hell out of me. All right, so that's McGraw-Hill. If you ever need to access McGraw-Hill directly, it's just going to be connect.mheducation.com. That is how you will connect to McGraw-Hill separately. But like I said, you can also just simply access it via any of these links, okay? Anytime you see this red square inside Blackboard, it will take you directly to that thing. So when you click Connect Orientation Videos, it's not going to take you to McGraw-Hill. It's going to take you to the Connect Orientation videos within McGraw-Hill. So it takes you exactly where you need to go, okay? That way you don't need to worry about getting lost or anything like that. A couple of other cool things we have in here. Academic policies link that was in the syllabus is also right here. We offer tutor.com. We offer free hours. I think they dropped it down to 8 for this semester. So you have 8 free hours from tutor.com. May not sound like a lot until you realize that if I were to be on tutor.com, I could charge upwards of $200 an hour because of my teaching experience and degree and all that kind of stuff. Y'all have it for free. That's free money. Use it. Just go on, like get an hour or half an hour with a tutor on there. See if it helps you. If not, you're out nothing but half an hour of time. If it does work, then utilize it. And all of a sudden you've gotten, in some cases, hundreds of dollars of value out of that. And here's the fun bit. If you call me later on in the semester and say, hey, is there any way to get more tutor.com time? I've used all of mine. They can look and see if people have been using their time. And if not, and there's some still available to the school, they can give some more to you, okay? So use that link. I promise it will be very, very helpful to you. If you do any writing, if you do any writing, we have a writing lab here in the library. They can be very, very helpful to you as well, either in person or they do virtual stuff too. A list of things that I think are helpful are going to be found right here, whether that's links to campus pantry or anything like that, some stuff like that in there. And then we've also got Connect tutorials here. So if you need information on how to navigate through Connect or how anything works within Connect, all that stuff's going to be here. And then we've got a file of study tips. I've been asked many, many times how to study for this class. So I wrote a big document telling you how to study. This is not my opinion. If you were to go to med school, one of the first things they will try and teach you when you go to med school or law school is how to study. Based off of the science of how our brains work. That is what's written in that document. Okay? Your brains are all going, like, we're all going to approach information in remarkably similar ways. We're all very different in a lot of stuff. I love to read. I've been reading since I was a little kid. Okay? That's actually why I wear glasses, because I would stay up late at night reading with lights practically off, reading. Okay? Not a joke. Okay? I read the last Harry Potter book in 7 hours the day it came out. I read it twice the first day it was out. Okay, I took a day off work and that's what I did. Okay, and I've gotten faster since then. Okay, reading is very, very good. I enjoy reading. Most of y'all, if you needed to learn how to do something, I guarantee you your first thing, mine either, if I needed to figure out how to change my oil in my car, would not be to pick up a textbook. However, it still works. Your brain is still going to take that information and use it. Whether or not you enjoy doing it is not the same thing as if it is effective. Okay, there's no such thing as a visual learner, or I'm a reader, like that's how I learn, or like I watch, it's like, nope, all of that is hokum. Okay, we all learn in basically the same way. We learn via repetition. We build connections in between neurons that connect topics and stuff to one another and their definitions and all that kind of stuff. And we put those into these big things called schemas. It all works basically the same. That document will basically tell you how to utilize your brain's machinery on how to optimize your ability to learn this stuff. Okay. Not just this class, but for every class. Okay. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to kind of get like a quick and dirty sort of algorithm for how to pass through the class, That's what this How to Be Successful tab is for. Okay. It basically is just going to give you an order of operations, like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then if you do this and this happens, go back and do this. Like, for instance, take the practice quizzes. If you do well, take the real quiz once. If you don't do well, or if you do well on that, check what you got wrong, study a bit more, and then take the regular quiz again. If you don't do well, study those parts that you struggled on, and then go back and take your practice quiz again. So you can kind of use this as an algorithm to help you kind of walk through the class in the right way. It also has a big list of things that you don't need to do. Like take a quiz before taking the practice quiz. Practice quizzes, worth nothing. Will not hurt your grade. Quizzes will, okay? So probably take your practice quiz first, if it were just me, that kind of stuff. So all that stuff is up there in the Start Here module if you need it. Now, each individual chapter or each individual module is gonna have a folder for each chapter. Each chapter folder will have useful links in there. In this case, this one takes you directly to the book. This one, they will all have access to an outline, a PowerPoint, and then any required virtual labs and their quizzes. Oops, that's not the one I meant to click. So there's the PowerPoint. But here is the outline. So when we open the outline, it will tell us the graded assignments that we have for that particular assignment. It will then go over and have all of the lecture videos that we have in here. Now, I have every chapter's videos broken down into fairly small chunks, anywhere from 3 to 8 or 10 minutes, depending on the particular topic. And I've picked what I think are the most 2 or 3 important topics, or the ones that I get the most questions on, or something like that. And that's what I've made the video about. They are not exhaustive. So it's not me talking about everything there is in the PowerPoint for that chapter. That would be a long video that no one would watch. I've broken it down into those portions. If I'm missing a portion, so say you read through all this stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, but I need a video on, like, is there any way that you could post a video on this particular topic because it's not covered in this thing? Absolutely. And I will make a new one and get it posted in here and just trying to fill that in. Does that make sense? I had big, long ones, and like I said, no one was utilizing them, so I put in some of the short ones. I haven't had time to go in and like subdivide all those old videos into other small topics or anything like that. So I've made brand new ones and all these kinds of things. Okay. Also found within these are going to be some lab recordings. So like I said, you will need to be watching the lab recordings before we come to class, because that will make it where I have to talk a whole lot less and we'll have more time to do stuff in here. Okay. Then finally, it will give you some activities. So basically like, hey, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? These are the things you need to read. This is also where you'll find lists of structures or terms that we need to know. Does that make sense? I want y'all to notice that I'm still scrolling through this particular list of structures, and I'm just in the O's. This particular list of structures is something like 64 things long. This is our list of body regions. Okay. It's a lot. However, I'm asking you to learn 64 things right now that you will use Wednesday, the following Wednesday, oh yeah, the following Monday, the following Wednesday, the following Monday, the following Wednesday, all the way through the entirety of next semester. When we talk about arteries and veins, there's a tibial artery and vein. There's a tibial nerve. There's actually a couple of tibial nerves. There's an ulnar nerve, artery, vein, bone. These are all incredibly useful terms that we will use all semester to describe lots and lots and lots of other structures. By learning the names of the body regions now, it saves you from having to learn hundreds of individual pieces of information later. 64 now to make those things down the road far easier, because then we can just go like ulnar, artery, vein, nerve, but they're all in the ulnar region. This is associated with the ulna, which is one of the bones of the arm. Okay. So we can go from learning it 5 or 6 independent times, or we can just learn it once now. Because then when we say ulnar, when we get to any of those, you'll immediately jump to that spot in your brain, and then we already know where we're looking. The next word just tells us what we're looking for. Like, oh, I'm looking for an artery, I'm looking for a vein, I'm looking for a nerve. That's easy. The ulnar part's the hard part. So we might as well learn it now. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So that being said, does anyone have any questions? Well, hold on. I'm not by time, I guess. So also at the end of the outline, there will be some useful links and stuff like that down there as well. So if I found any YouTube videos that I have found useful, I'll post them down there too. Then inside the chapter after the outline, there will be the PowerPoint. You can open that and read it right in here, or you can download it to your computer or your phone, look at it that way. Also, any virtual labs that are required for that particular day are going to be listed in here too. Once again, you just click that, it takes you directly to the virtual lab and you're good to go. You'll also see the practice quizzes. So practice lab quiz, practice lecture quiz, as well as the actual lab and lecture quizzes. And this is going to be the case for every chapter. They're all going to be set up the exact same way. Oh, look, chapter 2 is outline, PowerPoint, virtual labs, quizzes. Outline, PowerPoint, virtual labs, quizzes. Outline, PowerPoint, virtual labs, quizzes. Every single one. Okay. So this way we can just kind of walk through things as straightforward as possible. Also, lab quizzes and lecture quizzes, while they have different questions, they're still covering the same kinds of material. That's why we're taking them at the same time. That way we're not having to worry about having lab information, lecture information, because it's all related. Okay. So that's kind of part of why we have it done this way. Anyone have any questions? Seem to make sense. All right, let's start talking about anatomy. Wait, it's 2:20? Holy cow. 2:16. All right, so I guess with that being said, we learn anatomy in this class we learn all of this anatomical terminology because this anatomical terminology is going to allow us to be very succinct while also being very, very specific. It does not take very many words to say exactly what is happening and exactly where it is happening. Okay, that is why we are going to be learning all the terms that I'm asking you to know. Okay, we can be very specific and we can be very, very succinct. Okay, it doesn't take very long, but we can be incredibly specific with the stuff that we're talking about. Part of that is going to be these regional terms. These regional terms are going to give their name to many of the other structures that we're going to find in that region. Has anyone heard of the thinker? It's an old statue from like the 1700s. I think it's in France. It's basically the naked dude sitting with his hand on his head on his hand like this. Okay. That pose, which I've actually already seen some of y'all doing in here just while you're watching this, we think a lot of times by putting our hand on our chins. So this region right here is called the mental region for that specific region. Now, where these two bones come together, we'll call that the mental symphysis. There's two little holes right here. The word for hole in our bones is called foramen. These are the mental foramen. Why are they mental? Because they are in that region. This is the frontal region, the thing that makes up our forehead. The bone that we're going to find in that region, and you want to guess what its name is? Frontal bone. I'll be damned, that's convenient. Guess what the name of that part of the brain is underneath that bone? Frontal lobe. Real convenient at this point, almost like it's on purpose. These names are here to make your life easy. These names are not here to make you learn a bunch of bullshit trivia for nothing. These names are here to make your life easy. The structures in these regions will oftentimes carry the name of the region in their name, which means if I give you a list of arteries and veins to know, and you see ulnar, that you know where to go to find ulnar. Now, if you know Spanish, you actually know about a third of these right now, since these are actually based in Latin, okay? Which means they're going to sound very, very similar to Spanish words. What's the Spanish word for hand? Anybody know? Mano. Mano. Manus. Hand. If you do something manually, you do it by hand. I'll be damned, that's convenient. That's going to happen a lot. A lot of these names are actually going to be found in Latin. Now, if you want to know the other 2/3, you just need to know Greek, because that's actually going to be the roots of the other 2/3 of these structures. And that's going to be the case throughout the entire course. Words in this class are either going to come from a Latin root or a Greek root, okay? And that's where we're going to get a lot of these things. However, if you know Spanish, like I said, you're going to get a head start on a bunch of these terms. But these terms are very important, not just in this class, but also after this class. Say you wanted to be a nurse, and particularly if you're a nurse for children, oftentimes you're going to be asked to get an axillary temp off of one of those kids. Axillary means armpit. So you're going to test that temperature right here in the armpit, okay? and so on and so on and so on. We have a bunch of these structures on the front and a bunch of these structures on the back that you will need to know. So make sure you spend some time doing. Everybody good? All right. So we also have some directional terms that we're going to need to know. Okay. Oftentimes these directional terms are going to be put in opposing pairs. Okay. Towards the front, we have anterior. Towards the back, we have posterior. However, what is towards the front and what is towards the back has to rely on what we call the anatomical position. This means that we have to kind of have a root point for which we can use as a comparison for all the stuff that we're looking at. So we're always going to assume when we use one of these directional terms, saying that something is anterior to or superficial to or something like that, it's going to be in reference to anatomical positions. I want everybody to go ahead and stand up. Okay, everybody stand up. You people at home, stand up too. Although I can't test it since neither one of y'all have cameras on. All right. So what we're going to do is we need to be standing straight up and down. We need our feet to be facing the front, and we need them to be parallel to one another, so not all canted out or anything like that. And then arms at the sides with our palms facing forward. So head facing forward, feet facing forward, arms at the sides, palms facing forward. Everyone take kind of a mental picture, or mental feeling of where this is. This is anatomical position, okay? Whenever we talk about the relative positions of things, this is always going to be in reference to this right here. Not this, not this, not this, this, okay? Now, something else that's very, very important right now. Everybody point to your left. All of y'all are pointing in different directions because a lot of y'all are facing different directions. When I say something is left in this class, I'm not talking about you. We are talking about from the patient's perspective. We are talking about the patients. Do we understand? You no longer matter. This time. Very good. All right, everybody sit down. I did that so y'all could stretch. All right. Now, for these directional terms, like I said, these are always going to be put in opposing pairs. So anterior is going to mean towards the front of, posterior is going to be behind of. So your face or your nose is anterior to basically all of your other facial structures. So your face is on the anterior portion of your body. Your butt is on the posterior portion of your body. Don't believe me? Ask your grandma what word she uses to say butt. A lot of times they'll say posterior. At least they did if they're old. Actually, most of those people may have died by now. Probably shouldn't say that. Just now realize how old my grandma would be, the one that called it that, if she was still alive. And it's a really big number at this point. Although my great uncle is still alive. That pastor's like 98 years old, and he was in World War II. He is still alive. It's just mind-boggling. Anyway, yeah, he's in World War II. There aren't very many of those left. Like I saw some really old-looking dude like in Walmart or IKEA the other day. Like, and somebody was shaking his hand because he was wearing his like veteran cap. And I heard the guy that was shaking his hand like ask what service he was in. And the dude's or like what war it was in. Dude said Vietnam. I was like, shit, we're at that point? Like, holy cow, we're getting, man, I'm really a lot older now than I thought I was. I'm 38 for those of y'all that are interested. So a lot older than most of you. All right, now, anterior is going to be towards the front, posterior is to the back. Then we have superior and inferior. Superior is going to be up, inferior is going to be down. We're going to use these terms in relation to the body trunk. So that's to say from the head down to kind of the genital region. That's where we're going to be using superior and inferior. In the limbs, because weird things happen to limbs, like our limbs are a lot more mobile than the rest of our body trunk, we are instead going to use proximal and distal for all of the stuff in our limbs. Okay, so we're going to use proximal and distal for the limbs. Proximal is just simply going to mean that it is closer to the joint. So in case of the arm, that it's going to be closer to the shoulder. Distal is going to mean that it's further away. Okay, so something else to keep in mind with all of these directional terms, like I said, they're also going to, or not only are they in opposing pairs to one another, they're also going to be referencing oftentimes more than one thing. We're not just going to say, okay, point at this and say this is distal. Well, it's distal to what? Kind of then becomes the question. Okay, so say we're looking at my arm here. My elbow is distal to my shoulder because it's further away than my shoulder joint is, right? But my wrist, my carpal region, is distal to my elbow, but it's proximal to my hand, right? Or proximal to my digits or my palmar region. Does that make sense? So it's always going to be in relation, not just to these directions, but into some other structure so that we have some or the other kind of point of comparison. Does that make sense? Distal is just simply going to mean further away. So superior and inferior, we're going to use for the body trunk. Superior is up, inferior is down. Proximal is closer to the origin, distal is further away. We're going to use that on the limbs. Then we've got medial and lateral. Everybody take your hands, put them in anatomical position on the table. I'll be dang, everybody did palms up. Good job. All right, now, which of your digits is medial? Which is towards the middle? Your pinky. Which of your fingers is on your left? Those. Notice, those are different digits. This is why we cannot say to the left of, to the right of. Those are two words that you do not use in this class. Because we are bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, we are very similar on the right and the left, at least superficially. Okay, which means saying to the right of or to the left of is not terribly useful anymore. So instead, we're going to use the midline as our source of information. Medial is going to be closer to that midline. So when it comes to your hands on the tables, our pinky is the medial digit. The next most medial is your ring. The next one, middle, index, and then finally your thumb. Okay, on your feet, it's the opposite. But we can use these positions. The bone that is underneath your pinky, so if you follow this down, you're going to get to what we call a metacarpal. So that's the bones of our hands. So these are phalanges, fives. So proximal, middle, and distal phalange of digit number 5. Metacarpal, number 5. Some carpals. And then right here, we have one of the bones of the forearm. The reason that we have anatomical position B with the palms up is because the bones of our forearm, when our palms are facing forward, are parallel when our palms are facing forward. If you turn them to the side, those bones make an X. And things like medial and lateral become a whole lot less useful when things are crossing over themselves. Okay, so part of the reason that we have anatomical position be what it is so that we can take these bones and put them in a parallel line so it's easier to have a medial and lateral one. Okay, so medial, for those of you that are interested, we have the ulna, the lateral bone is going to be the radius. Okay, so we'll be looking at those a lot once we get to the bones. Now, we can also look at the body in terms of what we call planes. These are basically going to be some either imaginary or real slices that we're going to take from the body. Now, these either imagined or real slices are going to come in one of 3 primary directions. If we were to take the body and cut it into left and right portions, we're going to call that the sagittal plane, okay? So the sagittal plane is what we're going to use to divide the body into left and right sides. So that's going to be this one right here, okay? Now, once again, this may sound like it's a random piece of trivia. But if we look at the skeleton, which is a real skeleton, for those of you who are curious, like these are actual real bones, there's a line that separates the 2 bones of the sides of your skull. These are the parietal bones. There's a line right here. That line separates the skull into left and right sides. Anyone want to guess what that suture is called? What did we call that thing that separated us into left and right sides? The sagittal plane. So that is the sagittal suture. Almost like it was named that way on purpose. Okay. Now, the next plane is going to be the coronal plane. So corona means crown. Okay, so if I were to put on a tiara, that tiara is going to sit basically right here, divide my face into a front portion and a back portion. So the coronal plane is going to cut something into a front or back. So if we were to take a slice that way, you'd see something like this. So this is your coronal plane. So front to back is our coronal plane. Separating your frontal bone from those parietal bones is roughly in line with that plane. That is the coronal suture. So once again, learning these terms is not just for funsies, it's to actually be useful. And then finally, we have the transverse plane. This is going to be separate something into a top or bottom. So the transverse plane cuts us into a top or bottom. So this is the transverse plane. So each plane basically is going to cut us into in half and give us some sort of section. So if that section is top or bottom, what plane did we cut through? So if we're looking at a plane that cuts us into top and bottom, what plane is it? Transverse. Very good. All right, what plane cuts us into left and right? Sagittal. All right, what plane cuts us into front and back? Coronal. Very good. So those are the primary planes at 90-degree angles. If you have any other line that is not at that 90-degree angle from one another, so in that kind of XYZ directions, this is where we're going to now have an oblique plane. So the muscles kind of right here, those ones that go at this weird angle, they're not going straight up and down or straight side to side. These right here, these are the obliques. Why are they called obliques? Because they're not up and down and they're not side to side. So they're at an oblique angle through that oblique plane and thus oblique muscle. That makes sense? Awesome. Now, that is it as far as directional terms and all that kind of stuff is concerned. So are there any questions for today? Yes. Yes. Yep, I'm just going through the PowerPoint here. I'm actually going through it backwards because I thought our class ended at 2:30 for a couple minutes. I was like, oh shit. I was like, wait, no, it ends at 2:50. Never mind. Everybody good? Yes.
Is there any way that we can have the exact textbook that you need us to have, but like the book itself and not an ebook?
Yes. So once you have purchased the ebook, because we have to get the ebook, that's the only way to get all the resources. Once you've done that, they have an option in there for you to either rent a paper copy or to have a loose leaf copy printed and sent to you. And they're both a lot cheaper than they would be if you were to just buy it on Amazon. But if you know somebody that had like a 4th edition or something like that, that'd be fine too.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what resources people have. Everybody good? All right, so that's it. As far as the information that I wanted to go over today, make sure y'all spend some time learning these directional terms. Make sure you spend some time learning those body landmarks. When we come back next time, we're going to talk about cells and how important cells and all the fun, tiny things that happen in there are. That's it. Before you leave, if you have a chance, I'd at least like you to log into your Blackboard, make sure that's working if you haven't done so yet. And if you have, try and get access to McGraw-Hill. At least click that Connect orientation video link and see if you can get access to McGraw-Hill. If you can't get access to Blackboard, go talk to the people in Woodfen and get that process started.
Told me that for the online function that I needed a self-attended and something, or if not, that I would be doing it out of the class. Is there